Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo and it's great to be on this show today where we discuss all things books. Like I always ask, how many books have you read this year? If you've not read any, get cracking. Our guest today is very special. She has a background in law, worked in the oil and gas industry for years, being an actor. You will have seen her face on TV at one time or another. And she's written books for children. And she's married to a prominent Yoruba king. What a combo, I told her. What a combo. Let's get to meet with her and enjoy the conversation we had.
Olori Data Amina Matemilola, formerly Data Jaja, is a writer and author of children's books. Olori is a graduate of law, a public relations specialist, and a chartered mediator from the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Counselators. Olori Matemilola has authored 7 books and transcribed almost all into Braille language. Some of her works include Toyin's Magical Christmas, How the Tortoise Cracked His Shell, Serendipity, among others. She joins Channel's Book Club to discuss her books.
Olori, nice to have you on Channel's Book Club.
Thank you very much.
Olori means, for those who are not married, wife of a king, right? In Yoruba land.
Correct.
It's great to have you on Channel's Book Club.
Thank you.
I mean, we will dig into your books very soon, but you've done a lot of literary works over the years. It's like your passion, and especially for kids. What's the story behind that? So, why are you so passionate about that?
Well, I looked at the market really, and I saw that didn't have enough, storybooks for children that are homegrown. Most of the books that I read growing up were books that are written by Europeans.
And it's Blyton and Co.
and Co. Of course, we had a few, writers, very strong writers, Professor Wole Soyinka and the rest. Yes, we did, but for children, really, we didn't really have much, and so I thought it was something that I could get into, especially because I had started writing, and I love children. And then I thought, well, why not write for them?
Fantastic. I mean, you are very right, because that has been a major problem over the years, lack of or shortage of local content.
Correct.
How big a problem is this? And I know it's there. I mean, it is that gap there. But I mean, in terms of impacts, what kind of negative impact does that have on our children?
Well, honestly, I would think because with children, it's whatever you expose them to that they know. And so it is important that we expose them to the right things. Sometimes children, like back in the days, we weren't only trained by our parents. We're trained by neighbors and family friends and, the like. But we see these days that even parents hardly train their children. It's become a serious problem, and we're beginning to see a lot of children who have grown now to be young adults acting up in very strange ways. And so for me, it was a thing of write and teach good morals and see if they'll begin to pick these morals from reading. Besides, we don't read anymore. So it'd be a good way to actually get them to read and then read good stories.
And I also, I'll come back to a very interesting, nice observation I made about your work. But being an Olori, custodian in a way of our local culture and and all that. Is there a challenge also with not having enough literature for kids written in our languages?
Well, yes, but let me correct this. I am not the custodian of culture. My Kabiyesi, His Royal Majesty, with all due respect, His Royal Majesty Oba Professor Saka Adelola Ayokomi Matemilola. He's the real custodian of culture and tradition, in Owu Kingdom. And I am just supporting.
Well, I will assume
it is true. It is also true that growing up, there's Alawi.
Yes.
I'm talking about the Yoruba books now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I was exposed to any Igbo literature, even maybe Hausa, perhaps Hausa I was, because in school you had to pick a language.
Yes.
And Yoruba already I knew from childhood, because I grew up in Lagos. I was born in Lagos, and it didn't really excite me to want to read that. But in secondary school, I picked up Hausa. Igbo, I didn't, because again at home I heard a lot of that language being spoken, so that didn't really also excite me. But Hausa, I wanted to know more, because I heard just little of it also at home growing up, so that's why I picked that. So I know about Hausa literature and Yoruba, but I don't know much about having come across any Igbo literature book, growing up. So yes, it is true that there are many, and if there are, I don't know why we're not promoting them. Yeah.
Interesting. So what I said, the next thing I said I observed in your book is some of them you have translated to Braille.
Correct.
Which is big, because there is a community of people, Nigerians and non-Nigerians, of course, who are they are challenged in terms of their sights.
Yes. Usually,
yes, and yet will love to learn, and they need to learn, need to be educated, need to be entertained, and all that. So, not many writers I've met have done that. What inspired that?
Actually, I've always been one who had a lot of empathy. I've had a lot of people tell me that, and over time, kind of, understood myself to be like that. So I met a gentleman who's visually impaired where I worked, and took interest in him, just as somebody who needs support. So if I met him at the lobby, I would assist him all the way upstairs to his office, and then find my way to my own desk. And one day, when I went visiting him on his desk, I said to him that, growing up, did you read? Because I was at the verge of actually publishing my first work.
Okay.
And this was in 2012. So in the office setting, I had been to his desk and I said, growing up, did you read storybooks? He said, no, he didn't. That it was just their textbooks that was more important anyway, you understand. They had a few Braille books brailled for them, really, but not like that, like going to a library or, say, a bookshop and saying, oh, there's a storybook in Braille that I want to buy. So that didn't happen for them. So I said, oh, really? He said, yes. I said, my book is almost out now. It may be nice for the Braille to come out about the same time, the print copies. So he says, oh, why not? So he gave me the contact of the Braillers. And that's how I started brailing all my books.
All your books are in Braille?
Yes, except the most recent, which will be in Braille eventually. Yes.
Now, you've been very prolific. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 you've written.
Yes.
That is being prolific. I mean, I have to say, for writing a book is tough. Writing 7 books is... as you well know.
Thank you very much.
Let's say Tonye's Magical Christmas, Serendipity, The Charming Gardeners, Tamuno and His Tall Tale, How the Tortoise Cracked His Shell, The Gold Field. Is there a is there a theme that runs through your books? Is there a message or an emphasis rather, that runs through your?
Yeah, they are basically moral instructions, the character building, and what have you. And so, in terms of the theme, that is where I usually, that's where it stems from,
Okay.
And then with the topic, or sorry, the title, so to speak, with the title, most times I get my title after I've written the book. So my titles of my books usually come after I've written the book.
Because now look back and then
and say,
okay,
this will fit.
That's interesting. That's a writing tip for writers out there. Okay, so I would like you to run us through, get some kids out there and even some parents out there excited, and eager to pick up this book. So I would like you to run us through, just very briefly, each one. Tonye's Magical Christmas.
Okay, with Tonye's Magical Christmas, it's about a young girl who is always, looking forward to so much happening in terms of the unusual, and so the unusual did happen, for her at Christmas time when Santa Claus came all the way to Opobo. Opobo town is where my father comes from, where I also come from, of course. And I use that as a setting, having Santa Claus, come all the way from Finland to Opobo. all the way from Finland, and so,
that's already exciting. I'll just tell you, even me, I'm already excited about that. Okay, so you wrote here, so this story begins in the first week of December and ends in the early hours of Christmas morning. It is a well-known fact that some children find Santa Claus's white beard frightening, but imaginative. Tonye was not one of them. She wasn't scared, was she?
No, not at all.
Okay, interesting. Serendipity.
Yeah. So with Serendipity is a story around fairies, really, and I thought children, perhaps not very common to us here, but children are children, all over the world, they're all the same. We were once children, and I'm sure whatever we did, children anywhere else must have done. So I thought, well, it'd be nice to also, write something about fairies and see if our children here would also be, especially the ones that have not been exposed to fairies, would appreciate them and enjoy the book.
So this is about fairies.
Yes.
You bring the meaning. Data brings the meaning of fantasy to life by telling a story of a young girl who meets fairies through serendipity in her mother's garden. Yeah. Though unable to convince her family about her serendipitous experience, yet determined to stay happy and live with the good memories.
Right.
Interesting. The Charming Gardeners.
Right. So with the Charming Gardeners, again, well, there's always an element of the writer in the book they write, So I would also say that when we talked about the theme, that also comes to play whenever I'm writing. Okay. I always like to, pick a few things from my childhood, or at least from my life, And so with the Charming Gardeners, I just picked a bit of my family coming from, my mother, my maternal family, having them Tapa descent, they are of Nupe descent.
I was wondering,
so
when you wrote the Middle Belt area.
Yes, from Mina, coming all the way from Mina and Bida, just telling a story of two brothers who are of the same father, different mothers, and yet they're, together in terms of their family knowing each other and having lived in two different states of the country, because the whole setting was here in Nigeria.
Okay.
So having lived in 2 states in the country in Nigeria, but yet they're able to, connect, and their children still being able to connect. Well, there are lots of stories. That's like the main thing, but there are lots of angles to it, like talking about gas, and then using the old way of cooking, using firewood and all of that. And we all know what that, has cost a lot of people. If you like, promoting, the usage of gas, and that again has come from my life, because I've had opportunities to work in oil and gas, and for a better part of my life, really, in oil and gas. And so, knowing about all of that, I worked in corporate affairs, worked in community relations as well, and knowing all of this kind of influenced that writing as well. And there are lots of other aspects, like with the snake bite in the book. I'm saying, why don't we have, because it's real. People do still get, killed by this act, and really they're antidotes. And if we know that these are the kind of snakes that are, that we have, in fact, that we have, you understand, that are dangerous, you understand, and we have antidotes, we can set up, in that area where they may be predominant, where they're, set up clinics, where, these antidotes will be. And so if anybody had any accident like that,
rush there
and get themselves, taken care of,
Interesting. Unfortunately, not enough time. Tamuno and his tall tale and the rest of that. I think you've provided enough teasers, for viewers. But these are great books. I'm appealing to. I'm encouraging everybody out there to get your copies of your books for their kids.
Yeah.
These are for ages 8 below 10. 10?
Well, reading age 5 years, really. Reading age 5 years.
So we say 5 plus.
Yes, 5 plus.
Plus
but of course, there's some books. There's 1 or 2 there that is for secondary level.
Okay.
So and that's Charming Gardeners.
Would that be the Charming Gardeners?
Yes, and then Bullying and Cheating.
Bullying and Cheating.
not too cool.
Okay, Bullying and Cheating. Fantastic. I mean, before I let you go, what a life you've lived. Jaja, Middle Belt, Roots, married to Great Owu King, acting in the past, oil and gas, writing for kids. So, I mean, how is all that, coming together for you?
Well, I have a lot of interests, and I think I'm just wired like that, and I've been able to manage it. So over the years, I've done quite a lot of things. I've worked with even children with learning disabilities, in 2 different areas in Lagos here, and and several other things that I've done, really. But the truth is, all of these things, are playing out nicely now, because with all the experience one has, you're able to, find yourself useful in what my current, and add value in my current situation.
Well done, Olori. It's been great having you on the show. Thank you. Keep writing these. Our kids need them.
Please
keep writing them.
Thank you very much for having me here.
I'm sure viewers want to know where to get copies of your books. So try and give us your details. We'll put them out on our social media platforms.
Right.
I am a very big advocate of Nigerian parents getting their kids to read local content like yours, especially those that provide lessons and values that our children need out there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us on Channels Book Club.
Thank you for having me here.
Great to have you here.
Yeah.
My name is Uti Michael Omatsone. I'm actually a public servant, but I have a passion for writing. So I wrote a book called Humphrey, Captain Africa Chronicles, Part 1. It's a science fiction novel. I'm more averse to science fiction, so that's why I focused on that. I'm very inspired by the superhero culture. I know we all know stories about Spider-Man, Batman, and all the rest. So I thought that it would be great if I could capture that kind of storytelling and make it represent the African culture. So that's why I wrote Humphrey Captain African Chronicles Part 1. And let me just read part of the first chapter to you. A long time ago, before mankind was created, Lucifer and I were friends. Then all the angels were in harmony, enjoying the sweet fellowship of God, our Creator, and living a life so beautiful and grand that it is beyond description. Lucifer was in control of all the angels, in the sense that it was he who led us to the highest throne in the third heaven to see and worship God. Wow, you should have been there. Lucifer was handsome, which was why we nicknamed him Star of the Morning. He seemed to love God very much, and though he had a little power bestowed upon him, he had so much charisma that in the early days he had a cult following among the angels and always bragged about how he was close to God, telling us about his plans to improve our lot. Even among the angels, there were cliques. Angels Michael, angels Gabriel, Lucifer, and I always hung out together, and at that time we easily observed that Lucifer was not excited as he usually was. So I decided to get close to him and find out what was bothering one of the coolest angels around. What is the matter, Star of the Morning? I haven't seen you in a little while, and when you do appear, you don't look so cheerful. It looks like something is happening, and it is really bothering me. Meet me at Garden Royal later. Bring Michael and Gabriel when you are coming, said Lucifer. I'd also like to read to you the prologue of the book, and I hope you enjoy it. Here it goes. Come with me and let me tell you a story revealing the dark secrets of old. It's about a mighty power that caused the combustion of the entire universe, a sphere made up of consuming evil, dukes, terrifying monsters, and falling angels. Stories of roaming spirits, the tales of the Nephilim, children of the giants, the chronicles of Rephaim ghosts, the accounts of Horites and roving beasts, the history of man's decadence. Yet, amid all these, a story of redemption, a brave hero willing to risk it all to save humanity, the exploratory that spans the cradle of civilization in Africa to the four corners of the world, a story of a parallel universe and a superhero that will be called Humphrey. These are the chronicles of Captain Africa. First, let us kick off with the beginning of an era. It was a long, long, long time ago, way back before the creation of man, in a kingdom where the streets were made of gold. That's just a little teaser about the book. Basically, because the book is about the fall of Lucifer, his plan to become the Antichrist, and this superhero called Humphrey Captain Africa, who comes to save man. During that period, he becomes the Antichrist. So this particular book is the first part of the book. It tells you about the origins of both Lucifer and the origins of the character who is going to become Humphrey Captain Africa. And it's going to be a five-part novel. This is just the first part. And we're hoping to do many things about it. Like I said, it's about portraying the African culture, telling a superhero's tale, but drawing it close to what we are going through in Africa and in Nigeria to make it more realistic. And I'm sure that anybody who picks up the book will truly enjoy it. Humphrey Captain African Chronicles is available on Amazon.com. Just click on Humphrey Captain Africa Chronicles Part 1 by Uti Michael Omatsone. And I'm sure that you'll definitely enjoy the book and you look forward to the other parts of the novel.
This is where we have to end the show today. As always, we're delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.